Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Look, everybody's doing it, alright? So I thought I'd get in a nice fad. This is actually a fad I quite like. Now, I've gone on to Tier Maker, and I've created a list with 22 World of Warcraft NPC characters. And I'm going to stick them in one of these slots. S rank being the best, of course, then A, B, C, and then we've got Chocolate Fireguard, which means these characters are absolutely useless. And so I've picked what I believe to be a good mix of current characters, characters which have stayed the test of time, and just chuck a couple of fun ones in for good measure, and we'll see how this goes. Could be an absolute cluster, but never mind. So we're going to deal with them in alphabetical order. And number one, we've got Illyria. Where is Illyria going to go on this list? Well, she's a Chocolate Fireguard. She's an absolute Chocolate Fireguard. When she arrived in Legion, this whole thing for years with the World of Warcraft, with Illyria and Turellian, had been missing for so long in the Void and all this kind of stuff. And then in Legion, Turellian just like turns up in a cave. Hello, I'm in a cave. And then you're fighting a pit lord. And then Illyria's just like, yo, I'm here. And Turellian's like, oh, yeah, aye. And what they doing now? Illyria is stood on a boat, giving you upgrades. Jesus. No, absolute Chocolate Fireguard of a character. So that moves us to Anduin, or should I say, Manduin. The boy king who is being forced to grow up very quickly indeed since his father's death of Varian in Legion. Now, Anduin has been here since day one, of course. And there's a few years gone by where not a lot happened with him. He would appear every now and again, and then they decided to go for a bigger push. What they've actually done with the character, I like it a lot. I like the fact that he's ill-prepared. He has to rely on his advisors, but at the same time, he can look back at his own father's experience as well as his own, and deal with things in a manner that he deems fit. I think he's currently a really good character. A character that has been developed very nicely indeed. I think the voice actor's great. I think the character guy who did... I saw the video of the character guy is good. Manduin is going into A slot. He's not top tier. He's not quite there. You know? If World of Warcraft, if Blizzard actually carry on telling a story with characters instead of just ignoring them, maybe. But not quite there yet. But decent. Which leads us to Arthas Menethil, a.k.a. the Lich King, a.k.a. Booty Daddy. Now, this is, look, straight away, S rank. It's the best character in the game. Arthas Menethil / Lich King is the best character in the game with the best arc. No one can say otherwise. And if you do, you are a liar. Look, everything about Arthas is great. He's got a tragic story. He tried to do the right thing. He tried to escalate doing the right thing, which led to making some poor decisions. He then neglected the people to be tunnel visioned by his desire to defeat the Legion. It corrupted him, it perverted him, and it twisted him from a good man, a good paladin with a good heart, into the terrible mixture of him and Nazul, i.e. the Lich King, and then the grabbing of Frostmourne and the reaping of souls and the deaths of millions. Great character with a wonderful end, which is possibly the greatest cutscene in the World of Warcraft. R.I.P. Arthas. Gonna pour one out for my homie. Right. Oh, man. That went all over my cat. Sorry, Belle. I'm sorry. Didn't really. Next up, we've got Bane Bloodhoof. Chocolate Fireguard. Chocolate Fireguard. Since Bane Bloodhoof came into the game in Cataclysm, he's done nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing was explained to people about why he took over, really. And it was quite an important thing that he took over from Kain. It wasn't really gone into depth at all. It should have been a quest line, a story that we saw the fight between Kain and Garrosh and all that kind of stuff. No, stick it in a book, make more money. Which was really frustrating indeed. He had a small cameo in patch 5.3, but ever since then he's done nothing. Now, I know the Battle for Azeroth loyalists are going to say, but in Battle for Azeroth now, he's got a bit of a... Look, he's got a bit of a story going on in BFA, but if he is killed by Sylvanas because of allowing Sarfang to leave, whatever, then it's a waste of a character. It's just a waste of a character that has done nothing for 9 years. I hate it when they waste these characters. I really do. He should have done something with him. They've decided not to, and sacrificing him, possibly, ain't going to mean anything. There's no weight or consequence behind it, because you never built him up. I thought I'd bring Bran Bronzebeard in. And I'm putting Bran in the B section. B! No, seriously, I'm putting Bran in the B section. Do you know why? Because Bran Bronzebeard, it's easy for me to say, has probably been responsible for more content than 95% of anything else in the World of Warcraft. He always seemed to pop up in some quest line, something or other, and make me do something in the game. So whenever I see Bran, I'm always like, awesome, I'm actually going to have something to do. So Bran has a little special place in my heart. Thank you very much indeed. Which leads us to Deathwing. And Deathwing is going to go... It's going to go into the C section. Oh, I like a nice pair of C's. Look, so much wasted potential. Deathwing was on... He could have been a wonderful villain, you know? We'd had awesome, like, human villains, like Arthas, and then we had Illidans, of course. And Deathwing was this huge, just this huge, colossal beast. And when it was announced that Deathwing was going to be the villain for Cataclysm, I was really excited, because my first thought was, oh my god, the raid against Deathwing is going to be ridiculous, because it's just so big. How are we going to defeat this massive dragon? And so I was kind of salivating at the bit. And of course, because of his departure from Deepholm, was it? Deepholm? It caused another sundering of Azeroth, which caused the splits and the earthquakes and everything and the destruction. And it was just like, oh my god, this guy is god tier. This guy is god tier power. And he has a little scrap with Alexstrasza. Gone! Gone for the rest of the expansion. And then he turns up at the end and asks us for a manicure and a pedicure. And it's just like, come again, mate. Come again. So such a waste. But he is in the greatest quest in the World of Warcraft, which was what, the day Deathwing arrived, or whatever it's called, in Badlands. Just wonderful. Just absolutely wonderful quest. But such a waste of what could have been a great villain for us to get our teeth into. Galawix. Galawix is going to go into the C section. C section. Again, a character that they really should do more with, and they should, to be honest with you, make a little bit ambiguous. I've always stressed I have no idea why there isn't a Galawix neutral casino in the World of Warcraft. It's the perfect character. He don't care if he gets Horde gold or Alliance gold. He just wants gold. He has this underground casino, which is in his underground, in his fortress, in Ashara. And then he can, make it neutral territory. And we can go there and play games and gamble with our gold and all this kind of stuff in the casino. It would be a great thing to have. He also, you know, he's never going to be a good guy because his principles aren't there. So it makes absolute sense that he's allied with the Horde, but his true love is gold. And so it's just so frustrating that this guy they could do a lot with him. And they've done a couple of things in BFA, but nothing I would say of any consequence or substance whatsoever. And so, no, again, another decent character that's just meandering around the place. Garrosh. Garrosh, to me, goes into the A section. Garrosh was a great character. He was a flawed character. He was a prick. Yes, for many, many years. He was headstrong. He was rash. He hated the Alliance. Great. These are actually really good tropes to have when you have a Horde versus Alliance theme forever running throughout the game. Not just BFA, for goodness sake. And so when he was thrust into the role of leadership, when Thrall just packed up his bundle and decided to become a hippie, he was put into a situation that he wasn't prepared for. He wasn't trained for. He wasn't bred for, really. And he tried his hardest to fortify the Horde, because his first reaction, of course, is strength. That's what Garrosh does. And then he made some decent decisions in Cataclysm, and it seemed like he was turning the corner. He was self-teaching him how to become a leader in a very difficult situation, because Cataclysm was essentially a Horde versus Alliance type of expansion. Again, there's been a lot of them, folks. It's not just BFA. And then in Mr. Pandaria, they just decided he's just gonna be a bad guy. And we know how that turns out for characters. We know how that turns out for characters. And so some great character work that they did with him in Cataclysm was just completely undone as he became this ridiculous megalomaniac for no real reason. And I'm part of hashtag Garrosh did nothing wrong. When he fought against Thrall, and Thrall cheated to win in WoD, one of the only decent things about WoD was the actual fight. Everything Garrosh said was right. He was abandoned. He was left in this power of leadership that he had no real training for. And it was Thrall's fault. But he gets done. After a whole expansion going after him and missed, he gets taken out during the leveling process in WoD. He got so hard done by, did our Garrosh boy. Guldan. Guldan goes into the B section. I'm being generous here. I'm thinking I really should put him in the C section, but I'm going to stick him in the B section. And the reason why is something about me just says that WoD was made purely to bring Garrosh back to the universe. Because they realised they had no good characters because they hadn't developed any characters. So they had to go back and take some good characters that had already left the game. And even though Guldan was a bit of a pantomime villain, he did shit. You know, he did stuff. He got involved. He did a lot of nasty stuff. He did feel like a threat when there was a threat at the start of Legion, and then the threat just vanished. Decent character that got his just desserts, and you wanted him to get his just desserts. But at least he did something. For the brief time that he was back, at least he did something. And so I was kind of invested whenever I had anything to do with Guldan. Now, this is going to be a real weird look, because next one is Illidan, and Illidan is going into S rank. He's going into God tier. Look at that, 2222. Goodness gracious me. Illidan, yeah, again, Burning Crusade was the first, it was the first expansion period, but it's when I joined the World of Warcraft, March 2007. And Illidan was just an awesome character. Just an awesome character. And again, another great character, flawed. A villain who's only a villain because of the actions. Where another character like Arthas, where he believes the end justifies the means. His purpose, again, to destroy the Legion at any cost. And if that cost is genocide, he will do it. So a very, very flawed character. He's completely broken and wonderful. Just absolutely wonderful. And so, yeah, these two characters are always going to be the best two characters in WoW. I don't see any other character touching them. Ladies. Jana Proudmoore is going in the A rank. And I gotta say, she's lucky. She's lucky. I love Jana Proudmoore. I really do. And I really liked her character. I really liked this kind of, not soft, because she is a strong character, but this real soft voice of reason. She was always the voice of reason for the Alliance. When Varian was getting all, she was there to be that voice to try and calm him down, to give him the advice. And it was advice from people like Jana and Anduin that really shaped Varian, who we'll get to later on. And when they destroyed Theramore, they had a great opportunity to do something with Jana. What they did, they turned her just into this ridiculous one-note Alliance villain of sorts. Everything was just destroy the Horde, kill the Horde, massacre. And it just, even though, yes, she had suffered tremendous loss with Theramore, her students being killed in front of her, torture, all that kind of stuff. Oh, by the way, if you want to know where any of this is in the game, it's not. It's in the books again, because money, stuff like this, which of course defines characters, don't stick it in the game. Why would you stick it in the game when you can make some money off a book? All these things, I still don't think it would have broken Jana. I still don't think. But she just became this kind of like villainous character for a while and then pissed off. Now, since Jana's come back, she's a lot more developed now. They've given her a lot better motivation. She seems a lot more reasonable. And she's been through hardships, obviously. But she's come back a much better rounded character. A thought out character. As opposed to the stupidness that they did with her during Mists and Catra, etc. Towards the end anyway. So, yeah, I think she's earned a spot because she was always going to be an A and then she dropped down. But I think she's back to being a great character again. And the storyline between her and her mother, at the beginning of BFA is beautiful. It's a compliment to some part of BFA. I know it's just a little bit of storyline, but it was beautifully told by Terran Gregory, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So, Jana, you go back up to an A rank. Kaelthas Sunstrider. Kaelthas is going in the... We're going to A rank him. We are going to A rank Kaelthas. Because Kaelthas was just this maniacal, power-hungry blood elf. And again, when the Sunwell was destroyed, one of the first things for Kaelthas, who was a hero, again, used to be a hero of the High Elves, their first kind of thought was, where do we draw our power from? And it seemed to be his driving function was to make sure that they got power back, and they drew upon the arcane. And so we got the conversion from High Elves into Blood Elves, and Kaelthas, his desire for power corrupted him further and further and further, and he was a stunning boss in Tempest Keep, in the Eye in Tempest Keep. One of my favourite boss fights in any raid in the world of Warcraft. And great character. Making an appearance again in Magister's Terrace, I quite liked, because it was another little farewell to a great character. And yeah, I would... it'd be great if they could do some stories in the past, if they actually brought Caverns of Time back and allowed us to see Kael'thas when he was more heroic, so people can get a better understanding of what he used to be. I think that would be a really good juxtapose to what he became. But I loved him as a character. I thought it was great. And so he goes into A. Khadgar. Khadgar is absolutely a chocolate Fireguard. Useless. Khadgar could have been and was shaped to be this really awesome character coming back into the game predominantly for Legion, but he just became an exposition device, and he was serious and then ridiculously stupid. They just didn't know how to write the guy. It was all over, and so what should have been a great character ended up just becoming a joke, a meme, and that's what Khadgar is, a meme. I got nothing else to say. Magni, woo, chocolate Fireguard. Just again, another exposition device. That's all he's there to do. Because Thrall's gone, they've got to get another hippie to replace him. So let's get Crystalline Magni in, and he can just stand there going, "Oh, Azeroth's in trouble! Oops, man, she gotta go blood!" That's all he does. Just stands there, speaks in a broad Scottish accent, and does nothing at all. Fireguard. Malfurion. Malfurion can sit in the C section. Should be much higher. Should be much higher on the list. At the very least a B, and most likely should be in the A list. But no, he's in a C section because they don't do too much with him. Again, it's another character. He got a decent showing in Legion, but there's nothing really to him. There's no nuts and bolts. And even with everything that happened with Darnassus, he's playing second fiddle to Tyrande, which we'll get to later on. He's playing second fiddle to her. So he just is there. And that really is it. So he exists. He's not white bread, but he exists. But he's no better than a C. Mechatalk. Ooh, chocolate Fireguard. Chocolate Fireguard. Nothing has been done with Mechatalk. Nothing whatsoever. Since day one in WoW. Which is such a shame because all the leaders of the various factions should be so fleshed out. And you got your Mechatalks and your Banes and such that are just chocolate Fireguards. And he was a boss fight to give him some relevance, but it doesn't. Because it doesn't mean anything, because the character hasn't been developed. Other than he is an alliance leader, that is it. That is his character, and that's where it starts, and unfortunately, that's where it ends. Nathanos Blightcaller. Nathanos is a horrible character. I hate him. I hate the man. He's awful. He's diabolical. He's disgusting. He's an A. He's an A. Why? Because Nathanos has been in the game for a long, long time. But they haven't done much with him until recently. But when they decided to do something with Nathanos, they made him horrible. Absolutely horrible. A complete and utter sycophant of Sylvanas. And that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. If you're a member of the Alliance, you despise him. If you're a member of the Horde, you should as well. He doesn't care about you. You're a tool. If you get killed during a quest, he'll get another tool to do the job. You are simply a means to the end. There is nothing redeeming whatsoever about Nathanos, and that is perfect. He's a proper villain. He's not meant to be liked. He's not meant to be sympathised with. He's just awful. And so when you write a character very specific, guess what? That's how they end up actually coming off. So Nathanos, I think, is an A character because he's doing exactly what he should be doing. Making the Alliance despise him and making the Horde distrustful of him. That's a well-written character at the end of the day. Sylvanas, you should have been an S rank, but you must unfortunately slide into the A rank. Sylvanas has been a great, great character until BFA. Now, she's never been a non-villain. She's always been villainous, but the turn was so dramatic and drastic and also didn't fit with the faith that Vol'jin put in her in Legion. it didn't make any sense. When Vol'jin saw something in Sylvanas and entrusted the leadership of the Horde to her when he died, that actually should have been Sylvanas's, again, coming of age type of thing, in regards to they do accept the Forsaken. They do accept them in the Horde. We've always been accepted. We've felt like the outsiders all along, but actually we were amongst family. That's how it should have materialized. But then she just became Garrosh 2.0. I'm just going to become really, 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 really bad guy. Which is such a shame, because a wonderful character is now becoming, again, a bit of a pantomime villain. And it's sad, because she's awesome. Thrall! B rank. B rank for Thrall. Thrall was my favourite character for years in the World of Warcraft when I first started playing as a member of the Horde. And I love Thrall. And I love Thrall because I joined the Horde thinking, yeah, I'm going to be a bad guy. I'm going to be a bad guy. I'm undead. I've got demons. I'm a bad guy. And then you go to Orgrimmar and you speak to Thrall and you realise that the guy is really level-headed. He wants what's best for the Horde. He's not a warmonger. He's intelligent. He has a relationship with Jana Proudmoore, so war doesn't tip over. And you suddenly realise that there's actually layers of depth to this character. And then in Cataclysm, just turn him into this terrible, awful hippie. Terrible, awful hippie of a character. Now, spoilers, folks. Mute me for a minute if you don't want to hear this. Or mute me until you see me move Terrellian. You've been warned. Spoilers, he's coming back in 8.2. He's got a new character model, which has got rid of all his hippie garb, and he's got a big axe, and he's looking pretty badass. And he looks a bit like his father from the Warcraft movie. The outfit really does looks very similar. But you know, hopefully we can get the old Thrall back. But until that happens, I'm sorry, Thrall, you've got to kind of slide into the B's right there. Terrellian. The most chocolate of chocolate Fireguards. If anything was white bread, it's this guy right here. Oh my god. To such a lackluster entrance in Legion. Hi, I'm in a cave. To doing nothing. Nothing other than having a commanding voice. I will have my commanding voice and do things with my commanding voice. That's it. That's all he was. That's all he was. And he just, by happenstance, managed to muscle in on Illidan's one of Illidan's greatest moments, where Illidan rebelled against the Naru and fought back with the cracking line, of course. I am my scars. That wonderful cutscene there. But other than that, absolute useless. Just useless. Why even bring Illyria and Terrellian back when you've just turned them into nothings? Ugh, so frustrating. Tyrande, Malfurion, my love. Tyrande's going to go into the B's. Although she looks like she's got a couple of D's. No? Okay. She's going to go into the B's. She should have actually been lower, but because she's a horrible character. She was a horrible character. Most of us at the Alliance hated her. She was awful. All she did was, all her concern was about was Malfurion. Everything was just Malfurion, Malfurion, everything for Malfurion. And it's just like, oi, you know, we've got other things to worry about, wench. But when they destroyed Darnassus, she actually got some character development. She got some motivation. And the turning into the knight, whatever she's become now, the Night Hunter, I don't know, with the black eyes and all that kind of stuff, it's at least given her a completely new direction. So this whole sort of single-mindedness that has been at her for so long, and now it kind of makes sense, because now she's just driven to kill Sylvanas and destroy the Horde. She's just absolutely driven. So there is a little bit about her now, but my goodness me, she's been, again, pretty useless for so long. And so finally, we've got Varian Rin. And Varian Rin is he's an A rank. Varian is one of the best characters in WoW. one of the characters again that went through a journey. When he came back into the world of Warcraft and resumed his role as King of Stormwind, he was a dick. It's the best way and the only way really to describe him. He was just a dick. The Alliance didn't really like him. He was very warmongery. He was very aggressive. It was all about rah, rah, the Horde. But thanks to Proudmoore and thanks to his son, he learned. He started to learn about compassion. He started to learn to be more diplomatic. And we actually saw a genuine change in the character of Varian. If Varian had come back in Cataclysm and been killed by Guldan right there in Cataclysm, nobody would have cared. Nobody would have given a shit. But when he died in Legion, killed by Guldan, his death actually, you felt it. It was meaningful. It was sad. But at the same time, it was like, he went out like a boss. Wasn't a pussy. Went out like a complete boss, was defying Guldan to the very end. Managed to save the bulk of the Alliance fleet. Went out like an absolute trooper. Had an arc, had a journey, and went from a monster into a leader. A true leader, a strong leader. And so wonderful, wonderful character. So there we go, folks. I know this is a long video, but it's, for the WoW fans out there, because you get a bit starved of WoW content now, so this is for you guys and gals. But let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I'm sure everyone's just like, no, this should be here and that should be there. This is just my opinion. You're entitled to yours. And I'm sure you'll give it to me. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links there in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.